So for today, I thought we'd go through Championship away days, and I'm quite interested to know from you guys, what would you perceive to be the best away day in the Championship? I did a video a couple months ago where I ranked Championship stadiums with what I thought of them, but this video is a little bit more sort of all-encompassing, where we take everything into consideration on the whole match day experience. And I haven't yet been to every away ground in the Championship. There's still a few that I've got to tick off the list. The majority around London are mostly the ones that I'm missing at the moment. But I think I've been to enough and have enough experience with enough Championship away days to be bringing this one to you. And I thought today I'd share with you what I believe to be my best and worst, really. Before we do hop into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can find their link in the top line of the description down below. Really handy app to have to keep up to date with everything that is going on in the football world at the moment. Obviously, with all the postponements that we're having, we're not sure when the Football League is going to get back underway or anything like that. So to keep up to date with all the latest updates and going on around the footballing world, then OneFootball is a really handy app to have for that. So if we start out by talking about this season, I'd probably say there's two away days which stand out to me that have probably been the worst from my personal experience this season, and for a variety of reasons, really. Obviously, an away day is helped by your team actually turning up and performing and getting a good result and things like that. Although I wouldn't say that's the most important thing in the away day, it certainly adds towards it. And the two ones so far this season which have really stood out to me have been Reading and Hull, as they weren't very good. But we'll go through them in a little bit more detail. Obviously, I'm living up in Preston, so the journey down to Reading, it's a bit of a trek down there. When you actually get to the stadium, there's not sort of all too much to do around it. You have to venture out quite a bit to find a pub or something to do before the game. Like around the initial stadium, there's not really much going on around it. Then obviously we got into the football. When Preston played Reading earlier on this season, it was Mark Bowen's first game in charge. They were obviously looking to impress their new manager. They went on and beat us in the last minute. And to be fair to Reading fans, I know they get quite a bit of stick for being sort of, you know, having a dead home atmosphere and everything like that. But when that goal went in, when they beat us in the last minute, I've got to say there were some decent limbs, and the place absolutely erupted. You know, the players were jumping into the stands with the fans. It was absolute scenes at the end. It was just a bit annoying that it was my club on the receiving end of it, and then obviously having the drive back after that. So Reading away for me is, yeah, in terms of away days, I wouldn't really put it up there. The other away day which stood out to me, which wasn't the best this season, was Hull away, particularly because we were absolutely battered by them. I think whenever I think of Hull away, I just think of this clip from The Office, really.
Travelling?
Yeah.
When was the last time you went travelling?
Oh, travel, boy. Travel.
Where have you been travelling?
Hull.
It's hardly travelling.
Oh, innit?
But,
How did I get there then? Did it come to me? Oh, here comes Hull down the motorway in a car.
In terms of the best players who I've seen, you know, play against Preston so far this season individually, I'd probably put Jarrod Bowen at number one for that performance at the K-Come against us. He absolutely tore us to shreds. They beat us by 4-0. It could have been about 7 or 8. They were absolutely going through our defence. And in terms of the away day itself, it was a Tuesday night game. It was cold in Hull. There weren't that many people that were there, to be honest. And you know what? Hull fans, they do have a laugh. You know, they don't take themselves too seriously. You know, they were thinking we were getting mauled by the Tigers, and if Hull were to go down, I think I'd missed them a little bit, I think, in the Championship. I would do. Another category of away games that you got in the Championship is the expensive ones. I think that when that phrase comes up, the first two everyone thinks of are Leeds away and Sheffield Wednesday away. When you're visiting these two grounds, you can end up paying up to like 40 quid for a ticket or something like that, and it is a shame with both of their pricing structures, because I think that without that, they would both be banging away days. Like, you know, going to Ellen Road with the atmosphere that they've had around the stadium so far this season, because of the ticket pricing, usually the away crowd suffers a little bit. And I mean, there was this whole debate on Twitter a couple of weeks ago after Blackburn decided to charge fans £40 for the reverse fixture at Ewood Park. Leeds fans then went to go ahead and sell it out. But I mean, I suppose the sort of debate is, do you go and support your team regardless of the price and things like that, or do you not want to be ripped off, you know? In terms of atmospheres that you go into for an away day, you're probably going to struggle to find a better one than Leeds, really. You know, when they are in the mood and they really do get behind their team, then it can be fantastic. The only sort of annoying thing about it is the away crowds do suffer because of the pricing. And the same could be said for Sheffield Wednesday as well. They're the other club to charge quite a high price for the away fans. I'm still yet to actually go to Hillsborough. I've not made it there yet, but I've been to Bramall Lane on numerous occasions, so I know what obviously the surrounding area is like. In Sheffield, I think it's a really good footballing city, and obviously you are going to that traditional ground where, I mean, at Hillsborough you can get a fantastic atmosphere. It also doesn't help that North End record at Hillsborough lately lately has been absolutely abysmal. Like, we always seem to fall apart there. We had Jermaine Beckford and Owen Doyle fighting each other a couple of years ago. Things always seem to unravel there, but I think that Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday are the two away days that have so much potential but are just let down by the pricing. Some quite underrated away days in the Championship for me. Huddersfield away, I think, quite an underrated one. The last time I went there, I think it was their promotion season from the Championship up to the Premier League. I think what Huddersfield did really well during that promotion season was get a lot of fans on board with the cheap tickets, and that led to a really good atmosphere. Huddersfield away, I really enjoyed it. Stoke away is another one which I quite enjoy as well. Preston have had a good record there in recent years. You got a few places you can go to in the surrounding area. Stoke away for me, solid away day. Barnsley away is still one that I'm yet to do. I was planning on doing it this season, but the game got rearranged after Barnsley advanced in the FA Cup, so it got moved to a midweek game and I could no longer go. But I rate the fact that if you do, you know, sell at your relegation, you can get a massive following to Barnsley. That's always going to lead to a good away day. And obviously, as I'm in Preston and Lancashire, the local away days are always going to be a decent one for me. You know, Blackburn away is always a fantastic one. They give you the whole stand, so you can end up taking like 7,000 fans, which is always absolutely mad. It's literally right around the corner from Preston. You've got quite a bit to do around the ground as well. So Blackburn away for me, that's a really good one. Wigan away is another local one for Preston in the Championship, but for Wigan, there's not really as much to it as there is when you go into Blackburn. I think in and around the stadium, there's a bit less to do, really. I think in terms of when you're actually in there as well, the atmosphere is always a little bit hit and miss. Saying that, I did quite enjoy Wigan away this season, especially compared to my last two trips there. Middlesbrough away, I don't really have all too much to say about, really. It's an alright away day. I feel like when you go on a Tuesday night away game, you don't really get to sort of experience the area as much as you do when it is a weekend game, unless you're staying the night or something like that. Preston played Middlesbrough in midweek this season, but it was a 1-1 draw in the end. It was a decent game. Borough away, it never really jumps out as me as one of the best of the season, but it's a solid one. I'm still yet to do the two away days in Wales, Cardiff and Swansea. I've really wanted to go to these for the last few years, but I've just not been able to get to them. Cardiff, we always end up playing at a weird time. It's always either sort of a Tuesday night game, or the game ends up being on Sky, like it was an early kick-off this season, so I couldn't make it. Swansea away is definitely one that I'm planning on getting to next season, and I mean, for those that have gone, I'll leave a poll for you to vote on. Which away day would you say is better, Swansea or Cardiff? Then we get to the away days in and around London. Now, for this region, I've not really done many of them, to be honest. I was hoping to get to a few this season. Charlton was one that I wanted to go to, but that got moved to an early kick-off, so I couldn't go. We'll start out by talking about Charlton. Really nice stadium. They had the initiative earlier on the season to try and fill up the ground by selling tickets for just a £5 for their game against Blackburn Rovers, so that was a really good initiative. Definitely one that I'm going to need to get to next season, as long as they don't go down. Millwall away can always end up being a feisty one. Good atmosphere you've got going at the Den, and I'll actually leave a poll for you guys to vote on. What would you consider to be the best away day in London? But recently, Millwall did announce plans for a complete stadium redevelopment. I mean, design-based, it looks interesting to say the least, but I think a lot of people would miss the traditional sense of the Den at the moment. And another club who is actually moving away from their ground is Brentford and Griffin Park. I think Griffin Park has to be up there as one of the best away days in the Championship. I mean, looking at the away end, you've got the traditional terraces in there. It really is one of a kind, and I will be quite gutted when Brentford do eventually move away from this one. I'm also interested to get people's opinions on what they actually make of Brentford's new stadium in terms of Brentford fans themselves. I mean, it's a unique design to say the least of things. The Brentford Stadium, though, obviously iconic, got a pub in every corner, really good location. I think everyone enjoys this away day. Fulham away is another really enjoyable one. I think a lot of people look forward to this one as well. Obviously, when you've got it sitting right next to the Thames, you get a lot of people that take a boat through London to get to the game. That's always an interesting one. Preston fans have been doing that for the last few years. They're also redoing the stadium at the moment as well. I think Fulham and Brentford will be my two picks for the best away days in London. QPR is another fairly unique one in terms of the stadium design and how things are set up. The away end can be an interesting one for this one as well, obviously. Depending on where you end up sitting, you could end up getting quite the restricted view in this stadium. The same goes for Fulham as well, actually. I think the thing I like most about the Championship, though, is the variety in stadiums. Luton away is one that I really wanted to get to, but I've not had the chance to so far this season. We were supposed to be playing Luton the weekend that football actually got suspended, and I feel like Luton away, I feel like people will have funny stories to tell from this one in the comments down below. I mean, it's most certainly one of a kind when it comes to the Championship. Luton have been another club who has been wanting to redevelop and build a new stadium, though. Here are the plans for that. Obviously, I think we've all seen the pictures on Twitter of people going into the away, and you basically go through people's back gardens to get in. I mean, there's no denying that one is one of a kind. Then moving slightly away from London, we get to Bristol and Bristol City, Ashton Gate. Now, Bristol City have done a lot of work on Ashton Gate lately, developing the area around it and the stadium itself. And for an away day, I've not been yet, but I am looking to go. We've got Bristol City on the last day of the season. Hopefully, obviously, given the circumstances of everything going on at the moment, I will get to go down, because that was one that I was really looking forward to. Press against Bristol City on the last day say the season could be absolute fireworks. That as an away day I think has the potential to be an absolute cracker, given the fact that Preston have actually got a very favourable record at Ashton Gate lately as well, and against Bristol City in general. I'm really looking forward to getting there. And then moving back up north, we'll finish the video out by talking over some of the sides in the Midlands, starting out with Derby County. I don't know what it is, but whenever we go up against Derby, we never seem to turn up. I went this season. It was coming off the back of an international break where we were actually doing really good, but over that international break we seemed to lose all momentum, and Derby had probably one of their best performances of the season against us. But in terms of the away day itself, I actually quite enjoy Derby. I think it's a decent one. I'm pretty sure that Derby are the only club in the Championship, or maybe in the Football League, who has a Greggs built into their stadium, and I mean, fair play, that combines the two things I love in life, football and Greggs. What's not to like about that? You can go onto the football and get a Greggs sausage roll at the same time. That's winning combinations. Despite the fact that we never turn up for a game at Derby, I actually quite enjoy it. I think it's a good away day for me. And quite similar to Derby as well, West Brom's in the same boat as well. A really enjoyable away day. It's just a shame that Preston never seem to turn up whenever we play them. Last season away at West Brom, it was Gentry Day, so we took quite a good following there. Sold out the allocation. Good atmosphere, despite getting absolutely battered in the process. This season, we did lose there as well. But even so, at the Hawthorns, it's looking more than likely that West Brom probably will be promoted this season, so we may not get to go back anytime soon if Preston aren't as well. But overall, West Brom for me is a really good day out. They get a good atmosphere going there. There's a bit to do in the area surrounding. Overall, West Brom, it's a good away day for me. But we are finishing today off with my probably personal two favourite away days in the Championship this season. That would be Birmingham and Nottingham Forest. For me personally, I just like these two games. I've been to each of them a couple of times, and I think it's always a good away day. At St Andrews this season, it was one of the few away games that we've actually won. I've not seen us win all too many games on the road so far this season, really, but away at Birmingham was a really good one. The atmosphere at St Andrews is always fantastic. Birmingham fans, they've got a bit of banter about them. I think you can go back and forth with that. Obviously, then being in Birmingham, you've got an absolute bunch you can do before and after the game as well. I quite like the stadium and the experience as a whole. I rate it. But what would be probably, I'd go on and say my favourite away day in the Championship, all things considered, would probably be Nottingham Forest. I think it's just a great away day in general. And I think I'm right in saying that this was the first away game that I ever went on. I want to say it was either Nottingham Forest or Sheffield United. It was one of the two, I'm pretty sure. And that was a whole bunch of time ago, but even now, I think the match day experienced, Forest have got it right. You know, they got a really good fan zone there. They got plenty to do. At the City Ground as well, there's always a really good atmosphere, so the battle between the home and away fans is always top there as well. This season it was a 1-1 draw when I went, but all things considered, all in all, I'd probably say my favourite away day. And it'd be interesting to know from you guys, what would you say would be your top three? And also as well, what would you put as your bottom three? But that today, guys, will wrap it up for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, please do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on around the Championship, then please do subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.